girl, you are so pretty, 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 pretty. Baby girl, you are so pretty, 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 pretty. Females made you just to trick me, trick me, trick me, trick me. 'Cause baby girl, you are so easily pretty. The only reason that I came through tonight is 'cause I know you were invited. The only reason that this dress is skin tight is 'cause I thought that you would like it. I'm only come for the secret outside. Because I want you to lie. That the only reason I came through tonight is because I really like you. And I can know hide it. What do remember your mind then? The nicest the girls will get tired. Why just tell me that you feel like I do?
Hi, this is Jessica Javens Talk. Welcome to Season 1. This is a podcast that will help you live a life you truly love. Today's guest is a doctor who has more than 20 years experience helping women to improve their life and really feel amazing. Dr. Jabal Uffelman, welcome to our podcast.
Yes.
Thank you so much for joining us today. Please tell us
Jessica,
a little bit about you.
Thank you.
Thank
yeah,
you.
For sure. Yeah, like you said, I've been in private practice for 20 years, just over 20 years. I'm board certified as an OBGYN. About 13 years ago now, I stopped doing the obstetrics because I had enough. It's a difficult lifestyle, but it's a beautiful practice as well. And but anyway, I wanted to change course, do something a little better lifestyle, a little healthier. So I gave up the OB. I still do the GYN, but I got into aesthetics, like facial aesthetics, like Botox, Sculptra, fillers. And I discovered in that path of learning about anti-aging techniques and ways to better improve the lives of my patients, I learned about something that's been around for many, many years, but people didn't know about it. It's hormone pellets, natural hormone pellet for hormone replacement. And I developed my own brand and my own practice in that's expanded greatly, thank God. And that's basically what I focus all my attention on now, is helping people with these hormone pellets because the results are quite amazing.
So when I met Dr. Uffelman, I did not know how important this was. I thought that I probably would only have to learn about this once I started maybe having menopausal symptoms. So I'm like, okay, that's for my future. I'll worry about that then. And that's when I'm like, oh my gosh, this whole new world opened up for me. And I want every woman who's watching this to really hear about this. Why should we consider this before we start having premenopausal symptoms?
Well, because, we've been sort of taught by the medical industry and by our doctors that menopause is something that happens, that it's okay to treat. And, there's great medicines in the market to treat menopausal symptoms. But there's something called testosterone deficiency. In men, we call it low T. That's actually happening much earlier than the menopause. It's happening in the late 30s. I mean, essentially a woman and a man too. We have high testosterone when we're 20. And then by the time we're 40, it's already in half. It's been dropping linearly all these years. So you go to a certain threshold where you just don't make enough like you used to, and you start feeling the consequences. It's basically the aging process. It's changes in your skin, changes in your body fat composition, gaining weight, having heavier periods. These are all related to hormonal changes that come before the menopause. So it's low testosterone that affects women just like it does men. Just that's a bit of a paradigm shift that we have to go through now, is that women also need testosterone.
Absolutely. I had a huge paradigm. So thank you for helping me to change that.
Sure. Oh, my pleasure.
So tell me a little bit about your method. Like, tell me the difference between that and the traditional ones that probably are most known.
Well, for testosterone replacement, there's nothing in the mainstream medicine, pathway that offers women testosterone. Some women use a gel that's prescribed, that's approved for men, and they're just putting like a small amount. But there's not really, something from the armament of us gynecologists that's testosterone therapy for women. It just hasn't been approved yet. It should be soon because they're starting to accept it more. But women have been using testosterone in the form of creams and capsules and some sublingual preparations that come from, they're basically compounded specialty hormones. And these have been in the market for many years. It's just they don't give you the levels that are sufficient to feel benefits. For instance, a cream, which I think you've been familiar with.
Yes.
The hormone has to basically pass across your skin, which is very thick. It's like leather. So it's not really convenient to get medicine through your skin. So you really can't develop high levels and you can't get consistent levels. So now they take the same hormone and form it into a little tablet or like a pellet.
Uh-huh.
It's just pure
Okay.
testosterone powder compressed into a solid that is placed under the skin with a procedure that's local anesthesia. It's painless. And then the hormone is like a source under the skin releasing like a gland. So this will give you consistent long-term benefits because of the slow release mechanism. And it's just always there. You don't have to apply something daily or weekly. And like I said, it feels like you're making it from your own glands. And it's like you're making high levels like when you were younger
Wow.
of the testosterone. Yeah.
So I remember you telling me that this is like a bioidentical source. So
Yes,
tell me about
yes.
where it comes from.
Okay, so the pharmacists back in the 1940s figured out that they could take a wild yam, a certain type of root vegetable
Uh-huh.
that naturally produces progesterone. And they knew this because primitive people have been using these yams to treat menstrual problems, infertility, all kinds of menopausal symptoms. And for primitive humans, they've been using these plants. In fact, the plants evolved with us as part of natural medicine. So they figured out they could take these certain plants, extract the hormone, and then purify it into a powder. And it's basically pure natural hormone from a vegetable source. Molecularly, it's identical to what we make in our glands. What circulates through our bloodstream is exactly what leaves from this pellet. So that's why it's called bioidentical. It's just the exact same thing. Now, the synthetic hormones are not bioidentical because they are stronger and they're combined with other chemicals. And they're basically chemical, synthetic, not natural. That's the big difference. And I think that's worth paying attention to. It's safer. Your body wants something that it already has inside of it, not a new medicine that's just been invented. That's not how
I
our
see.
physiology works.
Okay. I like that last part. Okay.
Yeah.
So what is the side effects of maybe a woman
Right.
start to use this?
Yeah. So some negative effects. They're very much related to how the hormone works in our body. So you have to understand where the hormone works, what it does, and the dose that we put in our body. So if you put a very low dose, you're not going to have any side effects, but you may not feel any benefits as well. If you're dosing this correctly, you're going to feel all the benefits, and you may have very mild side effects. For instance, you might have one or two more hairs on your lip or chin. We're talking maybe one hair, maybe none, or maybe the hair that you already got is like a little darker.
Uh-huh.
So it activates the hair follicles on the face and on the body in general. But if you don't use too high of a dose, it's not a problem. Also, the pimples are essentially too much oil production in the hair follicles. So if you're growing hair, you're also growing this sebaceous liquid that testosterone stimulates. So if you grow too much oiliness of your skin, that can lead to acne. Okay. Also, a little more rare, but a little more worrisome is you can lose hair on your head. And that's
Yeah, I was
something we
going to
have
ask
watch out
about my
for.
scalp. Okay.
Yeah, well, that's the point is you have to start slow on the dose and let your body get used to it. And then every 4 months, you put a new dose, you can slowly creep up on the dose and you find a sort of a sweet spot where you are getting enough benefits and you're not getting side effects.
Got it. Interesting. Okay. So that was my next question. So 4 months, is that the time that it takes for the pellet to be completely absorbed throughout those 4 months?
Yep, it's dissolving. Imagine like a piece of ice melting in a glass of water.
Uh-huh.
And you see the ice eventually it's gone. That's what's happening to the pellet under your skin in the subcutaneous fat. It's slowly dissolving, and then you eventually feel slowly that it's gone completely. And then you put a new dose in, basically.
Interesting. So once I start
It's very
taking
much
that,
a curve, you see?
oh,
A curve of action. So it starts off slow, you don't feel it for a couple weeks, and then you're peaking or plateauing of levels, and then in the last few weeks, you start feeling all your symptoms come back that it was helping. Like you might start feeling aches and pains from arthritis. Your libido might go down. You're not wanting to work out as much. That's a very predictable time frame.
okay. Well, you just listed some of the benefits of taking it. Can you tell me more about that?
Yes. Okay. So every part of our bodies have every tissues in our body, our brain, our bones, our ligaments, our skin, our eyes. There's receptors, and they've studied this with histological slides looking at tissues. There are receptors for testosterone. So therefore, it goes to understand that testosterone has an action in every part of your body. So it's going to make your skin more vibrant, more collagen, a little softer, less wrinkly. It's going to help with body fat composition. It's going to help increase muscle mass.
Nice.
It's very anti-inflammatory at the level of the joints,
Wow.
muscle stiffness, all those things that old age brings, like you stiffen up and you have to gel in the morning. Testosterone keeps you more lubricated, basically. It stimulates blood flow to the brain, so your memory enhances. It also helps, of course, in a very primitive lizard brain part of our brains, the amygdala. It activates sexual desire. Okay. And it gives you self-esteem. It helps with your mood. A wonderful thing for women, like before the menopause, we were talking about this is something you need beforehand.
Yeah.
Women are constantly experiencing hormonal ups and downs that are related to ovulation and menstruation. It's like every 2 weeks, you're either ovulating or menstruating in a normal cycle. And both of those things involve rapid hormones going down rapidly and maybe going up again. So these ups and downs translate into sort of an emotional lability where you might lose your temper. It's very cliche, but women that time of the month are sometimes not easy to be with, or sometimes they're just irritable.
Right.
It's out of your control. But while you have the pellet in your body, you don't feel all that noise, all that ups and downs and of hormonal static up and down. With the pellet releasing high levels of testosterone, you won't feel the ups and downs that women suffer from.
That's incredible.
And the hormone itself affects your whole body. And like I said, it's very anti-inflammatory. It helps with anxiety, depression.
Whoa.
And you feel strong. You feel energy. I mean, there's just so many. And every woman has a different reason why they do it. Some women only do it because they like the way their skin feels. And they don't really notice the other stuff, or they don't care about the other stuff. But everyone sort of has their own experience that guides them and keeps them coming back.
I'm sure. So does that affect the own body's ability to produce that when you start taking that? Like, I don't need to do this anymore because I'm already receiving it.
That's a very real thing, but it's important to understand how to interpret that and what it means. It's different for men and women. If a man starts using, the dose in men is 15 times higher. So there's more suppression of the pituitary gland, which is really the master gland that sees over our other glands down below, the sexual glands. So when the chip is in the body in a man, or if a man's using testosterone shots, that hormone is sending a signal that you don't need to make any more testosterone, and the pituitary tells the testicles to slow down. So, and then if a man uses testosterone for any length of period, any length of time, and stays on it for a good length of time, they're going to be not able to produce much in the future. That doesn't apply to women because the dose is very low, and the amount of testosterone that a woman produces is very low. So it's already extremely low.
I see. Okay.
So the point about that whole suppression is that as a man, you shouldn't start too young, or you're basically signing up for it for life, which is not necessarily a bad thing. But it's hard to get off of it as a man because of that suppression effect on the pituitary gland. Women, they can do the pellet, it'll wear off, and they're not going to be worse off than they were before. They're just going to be at that point where they don't make enough testosterone to feel great.
That's incredible. So
that's an issue with men.
Yeah. Wow. So where's the limit of until when should a woman be taking that? Like, is there an age limit? Like if I'm 8 years old, can I take it?
Yes, you can take it. There's no limit. When we talk about limits of hormone replacement, we're talking about estrogen and synthetic hormones. There's guidelines of only use it as long as the patient needs it to control her hot flashes, and that different doctors will interpret this and say, well, 5 years is okay, or 10 years. That's not really based on science. But with testosterone, since we're not using estrogen and since it's natural hormone, there's no reason to stop. And on the contrary, it becomes more indicated with more age, because there's more age means more time without hormones in the body and more deterioration of the bone density, of the brain function. So it's more that the older you are, the more impactful it is, and the more it becomes more important to keep taking it.
Wow.
I'll never stop.
Wow. I'm thinking about my mom. I'm thinking about,
that was my first patient, was my mom. And so I saw the change in her, and she would be very anxious. She has a lot of anxiety problems and aches and pains. And I just saw her, and her skin got nicer. And I was like, wow, there's something here. This really works. When you see it in your own mother, that's impressive.
That's amazing.
So that was my first patient. Yeah.
That's incredible.
We got to bring your mom in for sure.
Yes, yes, I do. I want to.
Mhm.
Okay, so what are the typical concerns or issues that women bring to your table, and how do you help them? Because of course this is the main product that you have and you developed, but overall, because I know you have a whole center where you help them. Tell me what's the most typical things that you see. And I love that you work with different communities as well, where your clinics are, so you have access to the desires and the problems of women from different countries and so forth, which is excellent. So tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, it gives you a lot of perspective when you meet women from different cultures and different countries, and you see
Yeah.
that a lot of things we do have in common. And most of these women are coming in feeling like they just can't keep going with their daily grind, and they need more energy. Or the ones that are a little older are really suffering from all the menopausal problems, but it's their quality of life is greatly decreased, and they don't want to go down like that. They want to maintain, they want to stay younger, they want to stay more active, keep working out. All these things are tied together. Hormone balance is completely tied to the rest of your lifestyle. So women come in feeling horrible, just like, mostly it's just like, I've got no energy, So of course the pellet is sort of the cornerstone of all this, but there's of course supplements, there's IV vitamins. All these things are very, very important that we look at, because it's more than just raise the hormone levels. There's all these reactions going on with the hormone and the receptor and carrying proteins and enzymes, and these things can be improved with certain supplements. So there's a whole list of supplements we always try to get the patients on. And a lot of times what they'll come in and say, my husband's going to leave me because I don't want to have sex. And it sounds like they're joking, but they're not. It's a very real thing. And they need libido. They need sexual desire, because you can't just invent that. You can't just pretend you're turned on. You need this hormone in your body to activate that part of your brain, to activate the blood flow down there. So yeah, I would say that's another. They're suffering from lack of libido, and that's probably one of the most common complaints we get from patients that are looking for the chip.
Wow, incredible.
And additionally, we offer. You were talking about other services we have. We have some vaginal rejuvenation services that we provide, because that's everyone focuses on men get Viagra because they have erectile dysfunction, but women have some issues too, maybe related from childbirth or just menopause, etc. But there's some non-invasive things we also offer, like lasers and collagen induction therapy, that also helps with the sex life part.
Interesting. Okay,
It all ties in together.
more about that. Do another podcast just about that.
True.
So do you talk to them about the supplements and the choices of what they eat as well? Is that something that you tell them that it's important for them to be aware once they start doing the replacement?
Yes, I tell them that, ideal body weight, if you have a lot of excess body fat, the hormone replacement doesn't work as well. So I tell them you got to get to an ideal body weight. You got to know, either by doing these shots that we're doing now, the GLP-1s, or fasting or diet and exercise. We don't offer dietitian services here, but we do refer people to nutritionists, because absolutely it's important. You have to eat a balanced diet. You have to lower the carbs. You have to try to eat smaller portions, all these things. And the exercise is also super important. But we pay lip service to these things. Mostly it's, we're talking about the hormone symptoms. We're seeing what kind of exams they might need, blood tests. And then they're just getting the pellets and coming back every 4 months.
Excellent.
Feeling great. Yeah.
That's excellent. So let's say that they're considering starting to use the pellets, like I am. Where should one start? Should they start with lowering their body weight if they're overweight, or changing their eating habits, or should they come to you first? What's the first step?
Oh. No, you would do the pellet as soon as possible, because it gives you the energy to get back in the gym. And it increases your metabolism so that you can burn more fat and build more muscle.
Makes
sense.
You
definitely do the pellet first. The only contraindication, though, is like if a woman's getting pregnant, or if she is pregnant, it's not an option.
Okay.
So that's the first thing. And if she has any kind of risk for breast cancer, she can still do the pellet, but it's a special kind of pellet. So we always want to have a current or recent mammogram.
Oh, very interesting. So after she gives birth, when can she resume this, if that's something that she would like to continue?
Fantastic time to start, as soon as possible. They've done studies where lactating women did testosterone pellets, and they measured in the milk, and there was no increase in the testosterone. So it's not like it's going to get into the child that's breastfeeding.
That's
And they
wonderful.
need it more than ever because the hormones have plummeted as part of the birthing process. And it leaves women feeling very mentally and emotionally fragile and with a lot on their plates with a new baby.
Yeah.
Of course, they don't want to have sex, but it's worse than that. They have postpartum depression, so the
Yeah.
testosterone gets them right back up on their feet and feeling better and with more energy, mental and
My
physical.
goodness.
It's amazing. Yeah, that's a great time to start, actually.
Wow.
Yeah,
That is
difficult time.
for me is
Yeah.
groundbreaking. It's like, what? That's incredible.
No, testosterone is what we all need. It's just that it's been mostly, this is for men. Women need estrogen. That's totally
Yeah.
false, but it's based in the history of medicine. And that's tied in with the business of medicine. But scientifically, men and women need testosterone equally. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
Like
Yeah.
it has equal importance. It's just men have a lot more.
Right.
Women have very little, but it has equal importance in their body.
Yeah. I was shocked to know when this was found out because I never heard of it. And you said in what decade was this bioidentical testosterone found in the EM?
It was 1938 when
That's
they started doing
insane.
all this research. It was called the golden era of hormones therapy. And we had all this information, but then the business of medicine kicks in, and this is a little controversial, but it's very true. I mean, for a medicine to become part of the drug industry and to make millions of dollars on profits from a new medicine, it has to be something that's patentable and new. So these old formulas of hormones, it's basically like a generic formula. Nobody can own that. That's why it's not part of mainstream medicine. We don't learn about it in medical school or even in OBGYN residency. Never learned about
That's
pellets
crazy.
in one day.
I'm sorry, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. But something happened in 2002 when a big study was halted because the numbers were coming in. It was a hormone replacement study using the synthetic non-bioidentical Prempro. And it was showing that patients are having more bad than good outcomes, like more cancer, more cardiovascular disease, because they're doing millions of women in multi-center study, like all over the world. And they start putting the numbers together, and they had to basically halt the study because they were finding out they were doing more harm than good. There's a lot of details to this study and a lot of reasons that, maybe the patients weren't being selected properly. Patient selection is important. But in general, I was in residency back then, 2002, and I could see my professors all like mumbling and freaking out, like, what are we going to do? Like, how are we going to prescribe hormones to our patients? We're going to get sued because now it's in the news that hormones are killing people. So there was a huge scarcity of hormone replacement for patients in the community that were suffering, and that wasn't good either. All of a sudden, doctors stopped prescribing hormones. And then some celebrities started talking about these natural hormones that were always around. They were always around. It's just they weren't part of the common people's what we're exposed to, what we have access to. So, and then in the last 20 years, it's just been becoming more and more popular. But natural hormones have been around for decades. It's just now they're more in the mainstream.
That is incredible. Well, I appreciate you being able to start making this better known for us women. And I wanted to get this out there because I myself did not know, and the people that I hang out with don't know. So I'm like, this has to come out. People need to know about this, and
everyone has to know about it, especially older people, because older people are suffering, and it's not necessary. It's just they don't have to suffer like that.
That's
losing your memory, aches and pains, don't want to get out of bed. It's a horrible way to live.
Yes. Yes. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much.
Think about our moms, right?
Yes. I'm like, all right, I'm there tomorrow. They're bringing.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah.
I know. So, Dr. Uffelman, if people want to reach out to you, learn a little bit more, connect, even schedule a consult with you, how can they reach you?
Well, we have our main office in Fort Lauderdale, which is sort of like the headquarters in South Florida. And our phone number is 954-653-2196. All the other offices have their own phone numbers, but that central office can schedule appointments even in Orlando, even in Boston.
Awesome.
Or on social media, on Instagram at RejuveChip. At RejuveChip is a good way. I'm always checking the messages there. And it's that simple. Yeah, we have a website, rejuvechip.com. So we're easy to find.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Doctor.
If you're watching, my pleasure, Jessica.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're awesome. If you're watching this episode, please make sure you click the like button, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel for much, much more. My name is Jessica Skinner, and this show is brought by Forever Living, which is the best aloe vera juice in the world that helped transform my wellness. And it's produced by the I Am Beast Network. And this is Jessica Javens Talk.
Baby girl, you are so pretty, 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 pretty. Baby girl, you are so pretty, 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 pretty. Females made you just to trick me, trick me, trick me, trick me. 'Cause baby girl, you are so easy, baby. The only reason that I came through tonight is 'cause I know you were invited. The only reason that this dress is skin tight is 'cause I thought that you would like it. I'm only come for the secret outside because I want you to like it. The only reason I came through tonight